All right, guys, and we are back. JJ already did his number one by accident because he had the same number one as Edward.
My number two, his number one.
Yeah. I mean, a little of that was going to happen. Like, we all had to cross one off because there's some love for a specific cryptid out there. But my number one, and it's kind of... Well, actually, let's do this real quick because this show is actually doing really great on time. So I'm just going to add a little caveat. What is the scariest real monster story that you've heard? And I mean, like, could be from your cousin, could be from a friend of a friend. Like, we already went through Tessa's, like, somebody saw the Jersey Devil, and I'm sure there's other ones, but it's still a thing where it's like, what is the scariest, like, monster, cryptid, paranormal experience that you've ever heard of?
I've ever heard of. Oh man. I mean, aside from me finding random dead animals all over, not knowing the cause, like who put a goddamn goat?
Dude,
whose goat is this? Whose child is this?
I saw
whose kid?
I saw a really random scary Reddit post where it's just like, and it was just some country dude that was like, you city slickers don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because it's like every movie starts with, I heard this strange sound in the woods. Fun fact, we hear strange noises in the woods all the time. We just don't go into the woods.
It's like, what was that? Don't know, don't care.
It's over there, and I'm over here. I like to keep it that way.
Oh, wait. Maybe I should wait for your number one before I say anything.
Okay, well, so here's my story since while y'all are thinking. So out of all the scary things, so my grandpa has supposedly owned a piece of haunted land. I say supposedly because I never visited and I never see it, and I'm very like big on like I need to see it before I endorse these kinds of statements, kind of thing. One of them is a story that they saw my number one cryptid, and I'll save that for later. But the other story is that, like, randomly, my grandpa was out there. I've been scratched by Goliath has been scratched by ghosts. That's a good one.
That's not a ghost at that point. That's a poltergeist.
Is there
Or a succubus.
Well, if it can interact with you in a capacity, then that's upgraded from ghost to poltergeist. If it can move shit around or interact with the physical plane, that's a free-floating vaporous apparition, my friend. No kidding.
Sabrina Michael said, I've been followed by paranormal activity since I was little, but it's calmed down recently. Goliath agreed with you about poltergeist versus ghost.
Upgrade.
But my grandpa was out there digging fence pole holes, like to make a fence kind of thing. And then he was saying that he didn't, like, this is before headphones and anything like that. Like, it was like 1940, whatever. And he was just like out there and he heard hoof beats, but they sounded kind of like under the ground. And he was like, whatever, like, it's just like, there's a neighbor coming through or whatever, or just a lost cowboy kind of thing.
A lost cowboy mole man underground on his horse.
He just didn't care because my grandpa was like that. But at a certain point, he starts digging a hole, like, to put, like, the next fence post in, and then fire starts coming in. And he said that as he started digging a little bit, like, the hoofbeats got closer and closer to, like, the source of where he was digging kind of thing. And he was like, I don't have an explanation or a story for it, but it's just like I feel like something was like trying to like come up from under the ground kind of thing.
Ooh. Is there like secretly like a mine under there or something? Is this some sort of like
there was no mine. No, he owned a goat
cave?
ranch. Nope.
Caves underneath?
Nope.
Aquifer?
Nope.
Oil, like maybe like something caught on fire underneath?
We would have sold that land for a lot more money if any of that was true.
Fair enough.
I live by the train track, so I hear noises from there, but without trains coming by. I've heard that story.
Yeah. My dad has this story, but it's not really scary. He claims it's scary, but it's more of a funny story. I don't know if I should save that one for a later time. But something that happened to me was one time me and my friend Frank driving home from a late night out. Frank was giving me a ride. And there's a stop on the way to my house that's like right in front of the school district building, so it's like it's notable. And while we were stopped there, we see like a comet out, over yonder, and it's coming down, and then it stops, and it turned.
Yeah, they don't do that generally speaking.
Yeah,
Like not like a Yui. Like they might do a slight curve to like an
this
orbit.
thing like stopped and then went forward.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, and then it looked like it landed, but we never we still had to keep going straight. And I was like, we can turn here for. We don't have to take the usual way. We can we can take the scenic route. That's fine.
I mean, this one is a little bit less personal of a story but it happened to. Our downtown is supposedly really haunted.
Downtown Austin?
No, downtown Eagle Pass.
Oh, well, both.
Like there's stories about, and I don't actually believe that they're true, but that like Pancho Villa used to hang people by the river over there, where there's a neighborhood now, and I don't believe that because I'm like he wasn't this far north really, but I'm willing to believe that people were hung there at the very least. Because the courthouse used to be downtown, so
gotta do it.
Yeah, but Renee would talk about in his neighborhood that he would look out the window and see people hanging from trees.
Whoa.
Like ghosts and stuff.
Spectral hangings.
And our friend Nadia and Frank lived in the same neighborhood. Different Frank, by the way, because the Frank that he told lived next.
So many Franks, so little time.
There's two Franks. The two Franks.
I know Frank.
Funny.
All the Franks in the chat sound
Pancho
off.
is also Spanish for Frank.
There you
Three
go.
Franks were in this story.
But they had stories of shadow people. They all had story of shadow people.
Yeah.
And their stories were always something along the lines of like, they were all together for like a what's it called? Sam calls them stinky boy parties when you get together with all your cousins and you're in the living room kind of thing.
Okay.
And then like the grandma would walk into the living room and be like, "Time for you to go to bed." Turns off the lights and closes the door. And then they turn to the other side of the room and there's a dark specter.
What?
So, and these are all these stories that like are very common in Renee and Nadia's neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
And so on the note of Goliath saying that they got scratched, Frank and Nadia's brother Len got scratched. Like the whole house was like blessed except for Len's room,
And he got scratched?
and he got scratched by a poltergeist.
What?
And Len was like, "I don't believe in this shit." And
Until it happens to you.
Until
Yeah, I
the
don't
guys
believe
got
in that
dragged down the
shit.
stairs.
that was the crescendo. Is that both at Renee's house, at little cousin's party, and at Frank's house, Frank and Nadia's house, they both got dragged by shadow people.
Dragged?
Like they were in their sleeping bag, sleeping on the floor.
like-
Yeah.
Sure wasn't a prank by somebody else at the party?
He said that like you could see the shadow people.
Oh, no thanks. Hard pass. Hard pass.
I just reminded me of something that happened to me.
Oh, yeah? See, your brain likes to
sometimes I
bury
get-
that shit.
Yeah, because sometimes I used to get sleep paralysis,
Really?
so I always chalk it up to sleep paralysis.
Sure.
But this one was way too freaky. I was asleep, and normally I get sleep paralysis. I'm on my back, but this time I had sleep paralysis on my side, which I thought was very unusual. It's like, why can't I move? I'm on my side. That doesn't usually happen. And then I look down to where my door is, and there's like a little girl there.
Oh, no, no, no.
And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I see her run right in front of me. And immediately I was able to get my arm and reach out and grab onto it. And then I'm fully awake and there's nothing there in front of me. It's like, what the fuck was
Oh,
that?
hell no. Hell no. Was this at like your old house? What's the deal? Where
And
was
it was
this?
at my house.
Do you live in now?
Yeah. But
Yeah, you're like, dear leasing agency, I have to move.
the thing is, this isn't
The
a house.
Kiki Yow is here.
This isn't a house we moved into. This was a house my dad built from the ground up.
On a burial ground?
I don't know.
I mean, everything's died everywhere at some point.
That's true. On a long enough timeline, something's probably died on your land.
I have a similar story, but mine ends stupidly. It's not really scary.
Okay.
Go for it.
So I'm very bad about my teeth. I will forget, and just get lazy and not brush my teeth before I go to bed.
Who among us?
Yeah, right. So what I did in high school to like keep me on my toes about my teeth was I would leave my toothbrush and my toothpaste in my bedroom. I would leave it on top of my dresser, and then so when I was getting ready to go to sleep at night, like get my, sleeping clothes out of the dresser. Oh, there's my toothbrush and toothpaste. I'll go brush my teeth. I got one of those little bottles that isn't a tube, but it's like it stands up on its own of toothpaste, and it had a reflective label.
Okay.
I also left my cell phone charging on that same nightstand or dresser. So I put my cell phone charging, and this was back in the early days. It was a flip phone. So it had that bright ass light that would let you know when it's charging.
Yeah.
So I put it in front of the toothpaste, and I go to sleep. And then in the middle of the night, I like wake up a little bit, but I'm paralyzed. I can't move. I have sleep paralysis. And I see...
Are you on your back or your side?
I'm on my back.
Okay.
And I open my eyes, and I see an orb floating above me, threatening me.
What? It was like, come at me, bro? What's it doing?
Like, my eyes were...
Do you even sleep, bro?
My eyes were, like, glossy, so it looked like it was trying to move and, like, get close to me. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Tiny little fists?
What is this? Like, I'm trying to move, but nothing's responding. And eventually, it wears off, and I can move, and I turn around, and it's just the reflection of the cell phone light on the toothpaste projecting
onto the ceiling. Oh shit!
Well, we got a couple horror stories in the chat real quick that I'm gonna get into.
Read them.
So this is from Key, our editor. I had a bottle of laundry detergent mysteriously fall off a shelf on its own. The cap somehow broke, which caused the detergent to leak and run slits of detergent down the door. It looked like something out of a horror movie. A few days later, we learned our neighbor had died and had been dead for a week in the apartment next door.
Shit.
I ain't saying that was a ghost, but that was a motherfucking ghost.
Did they die doing their laundry?
Yes.
Really?
No, I don't know. No.
I was like,
we can message Key and find out if they died doing laundry.
I mean, maybe.
And then Sabrina Michaels, I think this is their first time in the chat.
Hello.
I've heard little kids' footsteps running in the living room at night or in the attic of a different house. And there was a different small child. It was a one-story house. It was a brand new, and we were the first owner. No holes. Sorry, it bumped up. So it was a one-story house, and it was brand new. We were the first owner. No holes, no small animals, haunted by crotch gremlins. Also, when I was in my room playing my PC, they would shake my door, or their footsteps would stop in front of my door. Never going in that house. My friend, I don't believe their death was laundry related, according to Key.
Okay. They slipped on laundry detergent. That shit's slippery, man.
My friends and I slept in an abandoned building.
It's an entire Home Alone track.
Like Better Call Saul.
Sorry,
and he hits his head on the thing.
My friends and I slept in an abandoned building when we were at a job corps. There were loud bangs on the door and the windows on the second floor. The stuff on the shelf started moving, and a wrench flew across the room.
Damn.
The spookiness in this mug is real. I'm on my friend's couch, and I'm gripping the blanket every night.
Ooh, I have some I forgot about. I have a friend who has like an old house in downtown Austin, and they had a horseshoe over the front door. Apparently, like that's a common thing to do. It's like good luck for your house is to have a horseshoe over the entryway, the threshold, if you will, because it's made of iron, and iron is supposed to keep away like demons or what have you, or bad juju. And one day the horseshoe like flew straight off the wall. It didn't fall straight down. It went like that. It like flew off the wall, not down. And they were like, yeah, so our house is haunted. So that's a thing. Another instance that got debunked, but this is a really fun one. I was, I think I was in middle school, and my parents were divorced, and I had stayed with my dad that weekend. I came home, and my mom was like, the computer is haunted. And I was like, excuse me? And she's like, the computer is haunted. I swear to God, there were muffled voices coming out of the speakers. It was turned off. And I was like, okay, Mom, whatever. Had too much wine one night. What's going on? He says, she's just partying while I'm gone at Dad's house. And so one day her and I are watching TV and the speakers start having muffled voices coming out of them. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And it just, you can't really discern what they're saying, but it's obviously people's voices. And then there's a point where I was like, meow, and then it sounds like there's a cat. And then my cat jumps up and sniffs the speakers, and I even unplug everything, and it's still making noises. Flash forward to a week later, and I'm going next door to ask the neighbors for a cup of sugar. I know it sounds fake, but that legitimately happened. We used to do that. Like, we were baking, and my mom was all out of sugar. It was like, ask the neighbors for flour, sugar, whatever the fuck. So I go next door to the neighbor's house, and the guy's like, oh, hold on for a second. And he walks off to go to the kitchen, and his cat comes up, meow. And in the foyer, there's a ham radio. And I asked him, I was like, hey, do ham radios, like, do those wavelengths, like, pick up on, like, old computer speakers or some shit? And he's like, yeah, actually, that can happen. Why do you ask? Pretty much.
You're really going to go, like, this long and not tell us your ghost story?
No, we're not going to do that. I'm going to save that for the Night Owl podcast. Sorry.
We don't get it?
Maybe another episode.
Damn.
I can't blow my entire load in one episode. God damn.
I mean, on a paranormal episode, I think you have to.
This is a cryptid episode.
Fuck.
We just got off on a tangent.
Can you tell them off air?
Yeah, I'll tell it off air.
All right.
We can do another episode that's about ghosts.
Fuck. Well, not this month, but top 5 ghosts.
Casper.
Casper. Probably like most of the Frighteners. Michael J. Fox.
Who directed
13
Frighteners?
Ghosts.
I don't know.
Peter Jackson. The
Was it Peter
It
Jackson?
was Peter Jackson. Yeah.
All right.
JJ's knowledge is on point. And all right, had a different instance when I was little. My mom had a big painting of the Virgin Mary in the right off the bat. Virgin Mary, creepy. In the small hallway before entering the bedroom. I was home alone, 14, taking care of baby bro when I hear a voice outside my bedroom door. In front of the painting, I hear the loud whispers in the name of the spirited. Loud whispers and my name. Oh, fuck that.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
Thinking of whatever gibberish they had freaked me out and threw the door shut.
So it's coming from the painting?
Oh,
Yes.
one of the rooms in my house is haunted.
What?
What?
My grandpa's room. It's
Oh,
haunted.
yeah, that makes sense.
By him.
What, he just like hangs out and smokes his pipe and gives like advice?
I guess so. Well, the only reason we found out about it was because a couple of my aunts and uncles have property in Eagle Pass, even though they currently live in Fort Worth. So they'll come over to visit and like maintain the property, and they'll usually just sleep in my grandpa's room. One of my uncles married into the family, right? He married my aunt, my grandpa's daughter, and my grandpa never liked him. So supposedly there's one night that they're sleeping in my grandpa's room, and yeah, my uncle woke up like not beaten to shit, but he was like, man, my back's really sore, like everything fucking hurts, and I heard all this creaking at night. And so we like to believe that it's just the ghost of my grandpa making him humble and put him in the clamor clutch.
Why are you playing with the ghost?
Why not?
Okay.
Bad juju.
No what?
Please, no bad juju.
Maggie, do you have any horror stories? All right, get in the chair. By the way, once upon a time, we were going to have a Mexcellence podcast that was called Weird City Goonies, which was just us doing paranormal shit. Found out it's really hard to do paranormal shit and it not just end up in conspiracy shit. So, yeah. Go ahead and go. What is your ghost story? This is Maggie, by the way.
Hi, Maggie.
Edward and JJ. This is my first time meeting y'all.
That's not possible.
Yeah, no.
I have not seen this woman before in my life.
You want to sit on my lap? Okay. Oh, yay. Okay.
Best friend, new best friend. Bonnie and Kitty solving crimes.
She's so cute.
So I actually lived in a haunted house for a little bit.
What kind of house?
Okay.
Besides haunted.
It was in, well, you know, where I live right now. Before I moved into the house I'm in right now, it was owned by my in-laws, and so we were like renting it from it. Like
Evil.
Yeah. Yeah. It was me and my then husband. Actually, like, my husband was saying, and my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law, they always had a bunch of stories of that house. And so my husband, he would see like ghosts in there, and he would find out that it was like, oh, that's your uncle, they died. Like, but it was so cool because my husband would always describe the figure as like sitting out in the porch, and he'd just be sitting there and he'd be smoking a cigar, and he would see the smoke, and then he
Ghosts
would
get cigars?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
There was
that
an
it was
entire
cool.
episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark with the clown.
Is there a spectral
the clown
Cuban
ghost has
cigar
a-
company?
Yeah,
I don't know, man, but he was
My-
he was smoking.
Dude, my if I get to be a ghost, I hope I get an APA. That's all I want. I just want an American.
But it
job.
was like in the movies, because like Joe was like, oh, I saw, like, pointing at a picture, like, I saw that guy, like, you know, out there, and his mom was like, oh, that's your uncle so and so, he's dead. Oh, okay. And then my brother-in-law would say that he would have instances at night where like they would pull the sheets off of him. And I was like, okay, that sounds fun. But my
That sounds
sister-in-law's,
fun.
yeah,
That's not fun.
it's being sarcastic.
Rude.
Yeah.
Give me my sheets back.
My brother, what was it? My sister-in-law's story is like the craziest one, and I have a few too, but they're not as crazy as these. But my sister-in-law, she was like, okay, because she was living there for a while. She was also renting it, and she was there with a roommate, and then there was like another friend that was hanging out there. The friend that was hanging out there was like, blah, 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 this house is not haunted, you know, heard stories, whatever.
It's some bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit. And
Did they
literally,
get scratched?
oh, that's better. Okay, so literally the friend was like taunting, like, oh, if there's ghosts here, like, show up, blah, blah, blah. And my sister-in-law was like, please don't do that. Like,
What up, goat man? This
please,
is my bridge.
No.
Bridge now, go man.
And so my sister-in-law, like, the three of them were there for a little while. He was taunting, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the room they were in, the lights went out, like in a movie. Like, you know, like she said that the light bulb exploded.
What, the glass broke?
Yeah, like the actual light bulb was like, and they were like, fuck this shit. And so they were running, and my sister-in-law was like, yeah, the friend that was taunting was like, you know, the last one, the third one behind, you know, so they were running, and she said as they were running, like, they could hear the other light bulbs like explode behind them. And so then she went out, and then the roommate went out, but the friend, before he could go out, the door slammed on him, the front door, and the friend that taunted, he was like, like, let me out, you know, whatever. And then finally, like, the door opened, and my sister-in-law was all like, I fucking told you. Like,
I told
why?
you not to do that.
I told you not to do that.
Don't taunt the house ghost.
Yeah, and so knowing all these stories, later on, my mother-in-law was like, hey, do you want to rent this house from us? And I was like,
Pass.
I was like, okay. I mean, like, she was like, yeah, it was just $500. I'm like, okay.
Just don't piss off the ghost.
You know, so, but like, I had that in the back of my mind. I was like, fuck, man, what if like some shit happens to me? And the thing is that my husband is a firefighter. He was a firefighter. So he works for 24 hours that he's not there. So I was like, fuck, I know I'm going to have nights here where like I'm going to be totally alone. But like the worst that ever happened to me was like, I'd hear my voice, like, not my voice, I'd hear my name. It'd be like, Maggie, and it would always sound like my husband. And it would always
Doppelganger?
it would
What the
always be when he was working. And I was like, nope, he's not here. You know, at first I was like, oh, what does Joe want? And I was like, wait,
They're trying to trick you, man.
he's not here. And so I would be like, nope, turn
That
around,
sounds
go
more
back
like
to
a
sleep or
shadow
whatever,
man.
you know, continue doing whatever it is that I was doing. But like, that was the extent for me.
It sounded like his voice, like legit.
Like, literally, yeah, his voice, like, it would fool me for like a few seconds, you know, I mean, because, I mean, you know, I lived
Fool
with
me
him.
once.
And I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh,
Shame
Joe.
on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me.
And then I was like, it wasn't Joe. He's not here. He's not here. I know he's not here. He's over there fighting fires. No. And so, never acknowledged.
There's theories, instead of it just being like a doppelganger or a ghost, it could have been like a ripple through time, that at some point he would be in another room calling for you.
I thought of that too, because
Yeah.
that shit's cool.
Yeah, that
So-
shit's cool.
So this is my favorite conspiracy theory, and then we're gonna get back on track. So they asked some priest in Mexico, because he has to be Mexican, because it'd be badass to say this. But it's like, hey, how do you feel about paranormal stuff? And he's like, it's all real. Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster, Ogopogo, like anything that you can think of, they're all real. He's I mean, he was a Catholic priest. He was a bishop, I believe. But he was saying it's all creatures that come in and out of our dimension. They're all angels or demons kind of thing. So, I mean, when you're religious, I guess this makes sense, but it was just so interesting that I was like, I would like this to be a series. But he's like, Loch Ness monster, Bigfoot, like everything, like they're all angels and demons, and that's why you'll never find a body of them, because they're not corporeal. They're going to come in and out of our dimension to give us a message,
Phase
and
in and out.
phase in and out kind of thing. And I was like, that is like, this is a John Constantine plot.
Section 13 of the Vatican is investigating this.
But I just imagine them like clocking in and out with little time cards. It's your turn now. Okay, your turn.
Like the coyote and the dog from Looney Tunes. Hey, Phil.
All right, Bob.
Your turn, Bigfoot.
I do have a friend who has a doppelganger story. They told me at a party once. Buddy,
They found a reptilian doppelganger.
no, it was. All right, let me just adjust this bullshit. So a buddy of mine, he was at his mom's house, and his brother didn't live there anymore. Like, are we scooting over now? So his brother didn't live there anymore. He was at his mom's house, and it was like late at night, and they were in the kitchen, and basically it looked like his brother was in the kitchen, like making sandwiches.
So, just real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Go
too
for
much.
it. What
What
you got?
Goliath has jumped in the chat is there's plenty of places that are considered portal points where creatures come in and out from. That is my favorite part of Skinwalker Ranch lore.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's cool.
Yeah.
What, ley lines and shit?
Yeah, like they say that like they put heat cameras at Skinwalker Ranch, and they could see like a portal of heat open up and something crawl out of it and then crawl
Oh
back
hell
in.
no. Nope. But yeah, my buddy Jim, Rob. Yeah. Anyways, he saw his brother in the kitchen, and he didn't talk. He just stood there, like he wouldn't even recognize that him and his mom were like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And then they walked off and came back, and he was like gone. And then they called his brother to be like, were you just at the house making sandwiches in the kitchen at like 11 p.m. at night or some shit? And he's like, no, I've been like here like a state or so over. Like, no, that wasn't me. And like him and his mom, like to this day, both saw some sort of something that looked like his brother or some sort of weird blip in time. But I asked him, I was like, how old did he look? Did he look younger? Was it like at a time when he did live at the house? You know, like how long was his hair or his facial hair, whatever the fuck. And he's like, no, it was like, it looks like him now. And I was like, cool. What was the last time he was there? He's like, So yeah, doppelgangers, weird shit.
Well, I guess you're just here now, so we're gonna go through our number ones. JJ already did it by accident because Edward had the same creature. But my number one.
Wait, skip me.
What?
Oh,
What?
number
No.
two. What's your number
We're doing
two?
number one. Your number two was JJ's number one. You're gonna be the last one to go, Ed.
Yeah, just number 2, and then. All right, let's just say it.
We're not done.
No, this
Yeah, and we're basically the three of us are gonna go through our number ones and go from there.
I'm just gonna watch.
Wait, but before
The
let's,
Watcher.
let's see what kind of nightmare shit is the Kuza Cap.
What we got?
Goliath, who has been dropping bombs all night.
Thank you, Goliath. I like
Lakusa Lagoopa Goop.
cryptid spooky bombs. It's the only kind of bombs I want besides bath bombs.
All right, that's not it.
I like it when they're free.
Kusakat.
I like it when they
Is
are
it a-
sparkly, but they don't stain my bath.
No, I misspelled it. I fucked. What?
Whoa, what?
Is it a kappa?
It looks like
It's kind of a
burb.
Thunderbird.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a big
It's another
old,
Thunderbird.
big old burb.
Maybe
Thunderbird.
Goliath.
Bugs. But there's always a but. It's got like the face of a gorilla or something.
Oh no, it's because I have my total like this and then.
The tales of the Kusakap is told on the islands of Duan and Malberg. Of course, it's all like this is like King Kong shit, like for sure. And the primary difference is the setting of the events, is the name of the fisherman. Blah,
Those
blah, blah.
weird things that Loki had to shoot.
No, it's just a fucking giant bird.
Oh,
Oh Lord.
Follow that bird.
All right, let me see if I can win. What?
Can you write it?
I mean, yes, it can be a mount if you really want to catch it.
Can we just take that to Mount Doom?
what
Just
island
drop
did
the
you
ring
say
in?
it's found
fine.
at?
Duan and Malberg.
I want a big bat I can ride.
Oh, wait. Is that your number one, Edward? Because we know. All right, whatever. We'll talk about that later, just in case. So my number one, and it's only because they're like I've heard so many stories about them. Like in Mexican culture, you're not supposed to whistle at night because these things will whistle back.
Wait, what?
You're not supposed to
Yeah.
whistle at night because these things will whistle back. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
flirt
Don't
back?
do that. Don't do that at night.
Hey,
Well, they'll do more than whistle back at you.
Yeah.
is that a promise?
No, they
Not that kind of fun.
Oh,
see what you're doing is the problem in Hellraiser. It's like, yes, I choose pleasure. It's like, okay.
they have very different definitions.
Yeah.
So my number one is Duendes, because Duendes have always played a role in like my social life.
Never heard of it.
So Duendes are like, I think they're uniquely Mexican. I may be wrong, but they're kind of basically gnomes that are evil.
Evil gnomes. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you mentioned this when we went to
They're like
Pumpkin
goblins.
Nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Pumpkin Nights. It was
Goblins is probably a better to.
yeah, goblins, hobgoblins, maybe hinky punks or red caps.
But no, well they don't wear. Well, they don't normally always wear hats. I did see live footage of one that I was like that might be like they do have the hat, and I was like that's pretty spooky.
Okay.
But like so duendes have always been this thing. So my grandpa allegedly saw a duende.
Really?
Yeah, he was riding back in from town because he lived in the monte or the country. So he went into town to get supplies, and he came back and he saw a bonfire in the middle of the road.
Okay.
And then he said that there was a duende in the middle of the road. And he
This
was
little dude?
yeah. And this little dude was like, I will grant you whatever wish you want. Just tell me what it is.
What? Wait, can he get a wish, or is this one of those like monkey paw things there's always a catch?
Well, my grandpa was kind of religious, and he was like, this is not too good
This
to be.
is a trick.
That's bait.
That's a trap.
So he was like, no, I'm not fucking with this. And he rode through the fire. Well,
What?
yeah.
Like the horse jumped over, or is the fire fake? Was it like phantasmal?
It wasn't like high. It was like, imagine a 3-foot bonfire and then like a 2-foot man in front of
I
it.
just jumped over it and was like, fuck this shit.
Well, I mean, I've driven over fire. Like, he just kind of
Okay.
rode over it. Yeah, he was just like, fuck this shit in his carriage.
So what? Did you ask him like what would you have wished for if you had like not just walked away?
No, because he was scared when he told me this story. And my
Oh.
grandpa is a 6 foot. Like, first of all, the fact that my grandpa was 6 foot tall and he's born in 1917 as a Mexican is very rare. So, like, when he was like, no, tengo miedo, güey. Like, I was just like, all right, like, I'm not going to ask you any more questions about this. And he always said it in a way that it was like it was so true it was in the Bible kind of thing, where it's just like, yeah, no, I saw the duende in the monte, and he was like, I will grant you your whatever wish, and he was like, fuck you.
Like that's a fairy tale shit. Like some people
I already
like,
know
kill
the.
for that.
I already know what wish I would make.
What?
What?
Let me go.
That's some Diogenes shit for sure.
I mean, yeah, if you could get one wish from whatever sort of fae, what would you wish for?
I would not do it.
You don't
based on-
fuck with that shit?
No.
You're like, there's always a catch.
Unless it was blue and it spoke like Robin Williams.
But yeah, this is my favorite
To
like
a lesser degree, Will Smith.
duende footage.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, just spook hims. The spook 'em ups.
Like it's some dudes hanging out at a party kind of
Yeah.
thing.
That's Alfred's house.
So David the gnome just shows up and everybody freaks the fuck out. And he's like, what?
He's supposed to be a tree now.
God Damn,
real
was it shot in
blurry.
Game Boy Color.
All this
On the
shit's
Game
always
Boy
blurry
camera.
shit.
Well, yeah, this footage is from 2004.
There's no excuses.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, hello.
gorro, parece, mira, güey.
What's he saying?
Mira, way. Look at that thing.
What? What?
What up?
Nope, right the fuck out of there. I mean, yeah, okay.
You gotta do the jig too. Hey, what's up?
It's got that shoulder flow thing.
Like an NPC in Yakuza. I'll grant you a wish.
Whatever you want,
Yeah,
baby.
baby. Oh shit.
But literally, like we used to get drunk at Alfred's house, and it would be 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, as Elijah knows, to get drunk at about those hours. He's not paying attention,
He's
but
playing video games in the corner.
Concentrating.
So hard.
but we would get drunk at Alfred's house, and it would be 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and we would be like, "Hey, bro, I dare you to whistle."
I would whistle. I'd whistle and he'd tell me to shut the fuck
So the whistle summons them?
Yes, if you whistle, they'll whistle back, and then they'll appear.
They're like,
You're
what's
inviting
up?
them, pretty
Yeah,
much.
You're what?
You're inviting them, like vampires. Yeah.
Okay, noted. Well, now I know what we're doing when we go to that cabin in November.
No.
Where is it at?
No, don't worry about
We've
it.
rented a cabin in the
story
woods.
that
It'll be
Alfred
fine.
said was
Park's gonna leave you there.
his uncle
Yeah,
went
but-
camping like
Yeah.
I'll pick you up.
into
Wait,
the monte.
Edward's telling the story.
Alfred's uncle went camping into the monte, and he was just there chilling, just with the fire, and he started like whistling a tune. And he puts the fire out, he goes to sleep, and as he's trying to sleep, he hears like the whistle right in his ear. He gets up to look, there's nothing around him. He tries to sleep again, and like 20 minutes later, the whistle again happens, but this time from across from him, and it starts whistling just from all over the places. And he's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And he just like stood up and just stayed awake for the rest of the night and went home the next day.
So what do you how do you get them to go away? Like what happens when you accidentally summon one? Like how does it work?
Until they get bored.
You need an exorcism, basically.
Really? So is it
Until they either get bored or you exercise.
are
them.
they physical or are they like spirit like a
They're physical beings.
Okay, so they're physical beings, they're kind of like they're fae, and then it's also you invite them and then they're just like kind of on your shit
Yeah,
until you get them to go away.
pretty much. And they'll fuck with shit the entire time.
They're like
Oh, wait, that wasn't even
gremlins.
the best
Yeah.
part of the
Or
story.
brownies?
Yeah.
The best part is that the next night he's like sleeping by the window, and as he's sleeping, he hears the whistling outside his window. Mm-hmm. So they follow them all the way from the monte to his house.
Yeah,
How far is that?
I know that like there's a like that basically they were in Pflugerville and now they're in Austin.
Oh, okay. Damn. So what, they got like a gnome Uber
Well, they can
or something?
teleport.
Oh.
yeah, they're like attached to you.
That's how you got to shave your pubes. And
They got miles.
What'd you give her? What?
Oh. It was a Baby Ruth. No, it's the Three
you
Musketeers.
see, this is why you need Manscaped to shave your pubes and just leave a trail behind.
I just felt something cold in my hand.
Well, Tessa, on to your number one.
Oh shit, my number one. Oh, that's got to be that that lovely cryptid that got a movie. That's the Mothman, baby. Being from West Virginia, I went to Point Pleasant. I saw the Mothman statue, not the Mothman himself, which appeared back around 1966 and 1967. Those sightings occurred, and basically it was chalked up to mass hysteria, but tons of people in the town of Point Pleasant saw the Mothman, who is he's about 8 feet tall, no head, again, like the Grafton Monster, but has the big red eyes like the Flatwoods Monster. And again, 66, I want to say 2 or 3 couples were in a car driving along the road, and they saw this creature, and it chased their car for several miles, is the saying goes. Now, I'm from West Virginia, as I've mentioned numerous times. Back in the day, they did not have great regulations for pollution. During this time, near that area, there was a place that dumped TNT, and it polluted the water. The water got contaminated, and the soil, it turned red. So I'm thinking a lot of the people in that town were high as shit, and and that kind of explains a lot of it. There was a certain type of bird at the time that migrated through there. It's called a sandhill crane. It's a very large bird with like a 6-foot wingspan. It's a big ass bird, is what I'm saying. So basically, they saw a bird they're not used to seeing that occasionally will come through.
I don't think a
And-
sandhill crane, because I used to be really into birds. Is
Nerd.
like you wouldn't look at a sandhill crane and be like, "That's a 6-foot moth creature."
That's the Mothman, all right.
It's pretty big, and the fact that a lot of these creatures are described as like if there's two
That's
of them.
not red eyes, though.
Yeah, but if there's like two of them standing next to each other, like if they're just chilling
everywhere
next to
they
each
went,
other,
there's 2 of them standing next to each
well,
other.
not everywhere, but anyways, again, some way to explain some of this shit away.
Dude, when you're like hyped up on adrenaline and you're high
And
in
TNT
adrenaline,
water.
And it's dark,
and it's dark.
and you're like, been smoking
were-
the marijuana cigarettes in the '60s.
And you were swimming in a pool with too much chlorine in it.
So,
Or not
anyways,
enough chlorine.
the Mothman. There's the film, the Mothman Prophecies. It's pretty accurate sort of portrayal of the stories. They're thinking that he's supposed to be like a harbinger of bad omens.
But
And-
supposedly the Mothman has been seen in other places.
I was telling you about this in Chicago back in 2018. There was a winged monster sighting very recently, as recent as like a few years back, which is weird.
Someone fucking whistled.
I don't think that's how you summon the Mothman, but so back in 1967, it was Christmas Eve. The bridge, there was a bridge there that went out and fell into the river, and I think it claimed the lives of about 11 to 13 people, and it was really sad to see. Like, the river was full of Christmas presents floating, and bodies, and cars, and it was really sad and really intense. So yeah, like the Mothman, they're like, did he cause the bridge to collapse, or was he trying to warn everybody? Is he like actually kind of all right, So there's a lot
killed
of
46 people.
what?
The bridge collapse killed 46 people.
46. My bad. Way more than 11. Yeah.
I knew it wasn't a lot because the only thing that I remember, and it's from the movie, so I don't know if it's accurate, but there was a girl that dreamed and had a premonition that she's like, I woke up in the dream, I woke up and there was everything was white and never caught a focus, but she's like, I just heard a voice that said, welcome number 47.
Okay.
And that's all I know. And it's from the movie. I never read the book, but it's just I know too much about Mothman lore that it's like I don't need to read this book at this point.
My high school art teacher, Mr. Paul. What's up, Mr. Paul? He. Yeah, I'm sure. No. But he told me that he was hanging out with a buddy of his who had seen the Mothman in his trailer way back in the day. And there was a knock on the front door of his trailer, and there was these 2 creepy dudes there wearing shades and wearing all black and hats and had some Uncanny Valley shit going on. And it was the Men in Black, apparently. And
Yeah,
so
there was a lot of signings of random men in black. But like I said, I don't know how much of this is true. I just know what the lore is. There's
Sure.
also random pets were disappearing, and it might be causation. I mean, it does not equal
correlation. doesn't mean causation.
Yeah. Where it's just random pets were because pets disappear all the time.
Sure.
But people were saying my pets were disappearing, and then the alleged rumors that Mothman was eating them.
Yeah, he even said they talked kind of funny, their voices sounded weird.
The dudes in black.
Yeah, the Men in Black. And so, I don't know if Mr. Paul was fucking yanking my chain or if he was on the level about it. You never know with that guy. The Mothman's a really good cryptid. He's kind of become memed and sort of in a lot of art lately. The statue, he's got cake. He's got nice buns.
Yeah, I was.
You're gonna show the Mothman butt?
Yeah,
he's got abs too.
He's got abs. That's the weirdest thing about.
Get it,
They're
Mothman.
literally abs of steel.
I'm trying to find the one.
Gotta end it with dessert.
No, bro, it has the statue has a nice butt, and I don't know why.
Yeah, he's kind of.
You might as well, give it a nice butt. Why not?
Yeah, it's Mothman.
There it
What's
is.
up? You can bounce a quarter off that thing.
They gave it the Nightwing dumpy.
Heyo, Aaron, in the first time. That is a legit conspiracy theory that goes out that the Mothman is trying to warn them about the bridge collapsing.
Yeah. He's a harbinger, or he's trying to warn them. He's not necessarily bad. And then there's a whole spin-off of this guy named Ingrid Cold, but that's a whole other thing.
That one I've not heard of.
Oh, I'll have to look it up. But yeah, it was this weird guy. It was around the same time, and he was kind of just a weird looking fucking dude who claimed to be an alien or something. And I'd have to do more research on it. It's been a long time since I've heard about it. Anyways, yeah, look up Ingrid Cold. It's fun.
All right, Edward, on to your number one.
Okay, my cryptid, my number one, comes from the way of the Philippines, and it is the Aswang.
So, fun fact, I just watched The Descent for the first time.
Yeah, Major Russian.
Yeah, Tessa made me watch it.
It's good.
And no, I really like The Descent outside of the fact that the main character is like, oh, we're rooting for this person, and she murders someone for no reason in the last 5 minutes.
Oh, she had a reason.
Not enough of a reason.
Were those Aswangs, though, in the Descent?
No, because they don't have the same kind of features at all.
Yeah, the Aswang...
S-Lang.
No, Aswang.
Are you saying
Aswang.
Morgan Onslaught from
Wang.
Darkstalkers? I know, right?
No, they're like bat human hybrid creatures.
Oh, that's cool.
They're lechuzas, only they're bats.
Yeah.
They have the wings of a bat, the torso of a human woman, I guess the head of a woman, and like really sharp, gnarly teeth.
They're like the
claws.
brides of Dracula from Helsing.
Oh, whoa.
From Van Helsing.
Dig it.
And I remember the first time I heard about these was it Lost Tapes?
Yeah.
Lost Tapes is where I heard about it.
Aswang.
And that was the best Lost Tapes episode. The Werewolf is 2, but Aswang, number 1 by far, where it's just like these group of American soldiers like, oh, we're going to go run drills in this cave. And they just, it was basically The Descent, but in 30 minutes and without the murder. But somebody probably donated.
And it gets pretty
Nice.
intense because one by one they start getting picked off by, and they can't see what it is, and they're just trying to see what it is and flashing their lights into the sky. You see something flying by them and stuff.
Spooky.
Is it usually like women or feminine?
Yeah, it's usually
Yeah.
feminine. They're basically kind of sirens in a way.
Cool. I like it.
Succubi.
Yeah.
No, Aswangs are just like in general, when you get to like Eastern culture, their ghouls and goblins are kind of way cooler than Western culture.
Revenants.
Yeah,
They have big anime eyes and
Because sometimes like they don't even just have a torso; it's like they have entrails and shit sticking out of them.
Ah, yeah.
There's a Japanese butthole demon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I forgot
there
the
a
name.
ghost that lives in the toilet.
yes.
Yeah.
There's also like a Japanese ghost that crawls up your pee hole.
There's also the one
The
that's
dreaded
basically-
Kandiru. A fish with a penchant.
The pachant across the man's urethra.
There's the one that's the umbrella. That's like the Japanese kaiju,
Yeah.
like not a kaiju, but it's a what's it called?
Yokai.
Yokai or a bakemono. Yeah, Jinx. But it's an umbrella, and it'll like hop up and it'll just like close around you and suffocate you.
It's like, haha.
You mean like those fucking things from Beastmaster?
Yeah.
I will do a special, like, we're done for the most part. We've all gone through our list. But I will do a special real quick just because it wasn't on anybody's list, so which is why I didn't put it on my list, because I thought someone would put it on their list. Lechuzas.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
So lechuzas are basically
It's
witches.
an
So
Aswang, but it's an owl.
Owl.
Oh,
So in Mexican culture, and as I learned through reservation dogs, even in Native American culture,
Yes.
owls are fucking evil.
Yeah.
why?
Look at him.
They got them legs.
You can't
they get-
sneak up on them. They'll just turn around and look at you.
Okay.
So owls are supposedly also harbingers of death,
Okay.
harbingers of bad news in general as a creature. So when a person decides to become an evil witch, they turn into an owl.
So like David Bowie in Labyrinth.
Yes, that is actually David Bowie in Labyrinth is actually a very good representation of a lechuza. Literally, is trying to kidnap a child.
Yeah. Kidnap a child and corrupt a teen, a preteen.
Yeah, all the things lechuzas do.
Well, not really a funny story. Well, yeah, it was kind of funny. One time I was hanging out with Alfred, and it's always Alfred in these stories, by the way. We were hanging out, it was like 2 a.m. We were just hanging out in his front yard, and we see an owl just perched on top of a light post. And I didn't think anything of it because I got to see the back of it, and it was a gray owl, but the front of it's white. And Bear starts freaking the fuck out. He's like, hey, wait, it's a fucking lechuza. Oh, no. I was like, what do you mean it's a lechuza? It's a lechuza. It's a fucking white owl. Dude, it's not a lechuza. It's a fucking gray owl. Nah, man, I swear, man, we got to leave. We got to leave.
It has to be a white owl, a specific type of owl.
Yeah, it has to be a white owl for it to be a lechuza. I think, right?
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
snowy owl or like a barn owl.
So it kind of looks like a barn owl, honestly. Like
Can't see what breed. I'm curious.
yeah, like they don't the all white face, but generally it's just like
That looks like a barn owl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So-
They look like
Yeah.
barn owls.
Okay.
So to make Alfred feel better, it's like, dude, I will walk to my house, go get a rifle, come back, and shoot that thing out of the fucking light bulbs and make you feel better.
There's,
And then he says, "What if it is a lechuza and comes down as a witch? Then I'm gonna have a tough time explaining to the cops how the fuck this bitch came down."
there are legit Mexican horror stories that is like, I shot this owl. I don't know
Yeah.
why they shot an owl, but they shot an owl, and then they
Now
go,
there's a lady.
yeah, and
In
when
the
they
morning,
go,
there'll be like a woman there that's dead instead of the owl.
Nope.
I shot an owl once and it no sold it. I'm leaving
The
now.
fuck?
I'm gonna get me some holy water and some salt and
owls also have a weird way of screeching. Like,
Oh yeah.
Like I've never got how to get rid of owls, but I know stories of like pest people that did, and they just kind of like they fall down and they get right back up, and they just kind of screech at you, and they hobble left to right.
yeah.
Well, they're so poofy
And,
that you shoot at them, you just miss it, and you just shoot feathers.
Lechuzas level up. They start off only being able to like whistle or make like a small like almost human like cry. Eventually if they eat enough people, they will
Pokey evolve.
they will level up and they'll be able to imitate voices.
Yeah, human voices.
Okay. Okay, so certain birds, I have a fun story from when I went to Ireland with my dad. We were at they called it a castle. They call any old building a castle. Like, if there's stones, it's a castle. But no, this was like an old fortress or whatever. And I was walking around, and my dad and his friend had wandered off wherever. And a crow said my name. And I was like, excuse me? And I was like, what the fuck? But apparently crows can talk. And so my brain was like, my dad and his friend, Pat, they probably yelled my name at some point. It heard it. It just repeated it. Sure, why not? So I run into them. I was like, hey, were you guys calling for me at any point? And they're like, no, why? And I was like, oh, okay. But I looked it up. But apparently crows are good luck. And also they are very much like... sort of like, I don't want to use the term spirit animal, but they're basically symbolic of people who are creative or left-handed. And I am an artist and I am left-handed. And anyways, weird bird shit.
Also, if you gain their fealty, they will find you shiny things and give them to you.
I thought that was
Ravens?
Ravens. I thought that was ravens. too.
magpies.
Magpies steal just shiny things in
Yeah.
general. But there was a story I read recently where a little girl was just like a messy eater.
Yeah.
And so crows would gravitate towards her because she always left like
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
pieces of food like lying around. And eventually, like as she grew older, she would like lose jewelry and stuff. Like,
Okay.
and the crows would bring it back to her. Like the crows would
Aw.
find it and they'd be like, "Here's payment for the food."
Yeah.
Like 5 years later.
It's a trade.
Bro, I don't know what you did, Edward, but our new person that just joined the chat is like, I'm a #1 Eduardo fan.
Aww.
It's just the look.
Yeah.
Just
It's the Joaquin
The
Phoenix
feel.
the vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you all for coming out today. This has been our top 5 cryptids. When about time, we're going to go out for pizza or alcohol. We're not entirely sure, but we'll be back in about 2 or 3 hours, and we're going to do an Anime Excellence episode where we just talk about anime for
Bunch of fucking weebs.
But y'all have a good night. Good day. We'll be back with Nightfall, and stay excellent, guys.
Stay safe.